This is one of the most sought after FPV/drone products, and it's not even a drone. It's a DJI FPV Controller 2. Everyone wants one now because it connects to all the DJI FPV drones and also the O3 air units, which I mentioned in my last video. And I went to crazy lengths to try and get this controller, and ultimately someone actually gave this to me, so shout out to them. So once I obtained this remote, I thought everything was going to be smooth sailing, no problems. I'm gonna fly my quads, no worries, get the same epic cinematic shots that I've been getting so far. But I was completely wrong. Once I started using the DJI Controller 2, it was like I could not fly anymore. I was crashing into things, I had no throttle control. It's like I was learning FPV again. And I was like, what is going on? And the main culprit, which no one really talks about, is that the gimbals on the DJI Controller 2 are way smaller than what you'd expect on like any other controller. So if you look at the gimbal on the DJI Controller 1 and pop that next to the DJI Controller 2, I'm not sure if you can tell, but they are way smaller. So if you're moving to any controller to the DJI Controller 2, you're going to have a rough time because it's just so unnatural for your stick to travel less far. That being said, if you are a thumber, so you just fly with your thumbs, then you might actually like that a bit more because that's what like a Game Boy is like. Also, if you're a noob just coming into FPV, you could get used to this from day one, but limiting the amount of distance and resolution you have when operating a remote surely cannot be a good thing, and there might be some impacts on how good you can ultimately fly an FPV drone. Obviously, that could be a bit marginal. So now I was just like, shit man, I did all this to bust my ass to get this controller and I can't even fly. I really wanted to make this work, but I genuinely could not fly. It was too hard to fly for me. I think it was going to take a long time for me to try and adjust and get to the same level as I got before, which is very not welcoming, especially when like, I've got a job, I've got things to do. And I think from a pure review standpoint of this product, it's so small, it's way lighter than that big black box. Going hiking, putting this in your bag saves so much space. You don't have to bring a huge suitcase for your RC controller, and everything is honestly great in terms of ergonomics. It's just that the gimbals are just so small. Some people may appreciate some more buttons. I don't have a problem with it. Also, the overwhelming positive for this remote is the fact that you do not need an extra receiver to go with all of your drones and have to buy all this other stuff. The controller itself is fairly cheap compared to some of these modern day controllers like the Commander 8. And from my perspective, not having to solder things, not buying an extra receiver, that's always extra cost, which we want to avoid. And there's also a bit of a headache when you try to learn something and you have to go through all these processes to connect everything. It's just easy binding, flying, no worries, no receivers. So ultimately, time is money, and this definitely saves your time, which is why I plan to fly this remote. From all that standpoint, it's great. I just could not fly anymore. But thankfully, I found the solution to this problem. In my opinion, you need to buy some longer sticks for the DJI FPV RC Controller 2. This is the sticks that it comes with, and these are the longer ones that I purchased. And as you can see, there is a fair difference. I'm sure I've shown you clips of me struggling to fly anything that's not a straight line. My throttle control, completely whack. And let me show you the basically first or second flight I had with these longer sticks. It makes a world of difference. Alright, we got our new sticks going. We're gonna fly this bad boy. I probably mentioned this already, but without these new sticks, I could not fly to save my life. My FPV was literally horrible. It's like I was starting from scratch again. So let's see what we can do here. Split S this tree. Look, we won't even fly with hyper smooth. I'll try and actually fly smooth for once in my life. No real steady. Cinematic as. Look man, we are back in business. I'm telling you. It was weird. I literally thought I could not fly anymore. Thread that gap through there. Alright, let's try and power loop. I haven't power looped in ages. After we do the 6 split S. Oh, throw control, a little bit sus there, but that's alright. Alright, we'll start with the baby power loop. We'll thread this gap here. Oh shit, oh! I haven't power looped in a while and it shows. Maybe we just can't power loop. A bane of my existence. My tracking wasn't very good there. That was pretty cool. My rates are a bit lower than they were before. That's probably tripping me out a little bit. But for normal cinematic flying, this is great. Let's try and juicy flick. The freestyle moves are not great, but the floaty cinematics are looking good. Fly with nice proximity, great accuracy. Oh, that was a bit close right there. Honestly feels 10 times better than it did before. Again, the juicy flicks are not ideal. What the hell is that? I mean, we're getting the touchback a little bit, but with these longer gimbals, all is well. Honestly, I was thinking of going Express LRS as well. But you know, it's just more complicated. A celebratory dive. Alright, we'll take that, whatever. We're running out of juice. So just from that fly alone, you can see how much better I am at flying again. It's like I can freestyle again. I could not do a single juicy flick or anything with those old sticks because the amount of distance you travel to do a full 180 versus what you did before is completely thrown off, and it's very difficult to adjust. So there's one more elephant in the room about a major issue with this controller, which is why everyone shits on it. And it's basically because if your video cuts out in your goggles, you're going to lose signal in the controller as well for about 5 seconds before you get it back. And basically what that means is if you lose signal, you can't see anything, you won't be able to adjust the controls as well, so your drone's just going to drop out the sky, probably crash into something, and you're going to lose it forever. And that's basically the big advantage of using a separate control link, or whatever you call it, like Crossfire, so that whenever you lose signal, you can punch up, you can probably regain signal, and that's why everyone likes those controllers. But my only one rebuttal to that is if you have a GPS and you fly with the GPS, if you ever fail safe, your GPS will kick in, and then it will bring it back, or it will at least hover back in the air, go back up, you'll regain control, and it'll basically be a similar effect to punching back up with your controller. Honestly, you could argue that GPS is more important than the separate controlling, because if you lose signal and you punch up blind, you could hit a tree, you could go wherever, you might not fly straight up. But the point is you can easily get away with GPS and using a controller like this without losing your quad every single day like people make it out to be. Just as a testament, I've used a big black box which has the same type of configuration as the current controller in terms of fail-safing, and I've used it this whole time from almost about a year now, and the only time I ever fail-safed out of the goggles, because I fly pretty responsibly, I always fly line of sight, is when I tried to fly literally through a mountain. The drone fail-safed and the GPS rescue actually rescued me. You're not going to have this issue where fail-safing means instant loss of drone. So if you get anything from this video, buy some longer sticks, especially if you're a pincher, for the DJI controller too, or honestly just avoid it, because these are problems that you wouldn't expect to have, which I have clearly faced, and it is a bit difficult, but there are solutions to this. And these sticks cost like 15 bucks Australian, probably even cheaper in America. And if you got anything from the video, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.